Welcome to part 2 of why Fallout 4 is bad. The story. The first point I would like to talk about in Fallout 4 and why it is bad is the story. The story itself in Fallout 4 is mediocre at best. Comparing it to the story in Fallout 1. When Fallout 1 first began, it showed off its true nature of the Fallout universe and the post-apocalyptic 1950s look. With blood and guts everywhere, a vault intro to display the Vault 13 vault and where you came from. Fallout looked amazing on its first intro cutscene, and its beginning lines was something that I have mirrored in my head for all these years after playing Fallout.
War never changes.
War never changes. A line that has been stuck in the minds of many, and has, in many occasions, been true. Unless, of course, you're a die-hard Metal Gear Solid fan, of course.
War has changed.
Despite being a very basic main objective in the game, the goal of Fallout was to find a new water chip to be used in the vault you resided in after the Great War, Vault 13. The main overseer of the vault gives you basic equipment and the location of one other vault as a good starting point. Through these basic instructions and this one location, you can then, while on your trail to the other vault, find another small town called Shady Sands. In this town there are many different missions that can be accomplished, which widen the world of Fallout 1 and its people. Take one good Fallout 1 side quest, such as the one where you're given the option between signing with Gizmo and Killian in Junktown. In Junktown, there are two main sides to Junktown. There's Killian, the main sheriff who wants law and order brought to the town, and there's Gizmo, leader of a corrupt and wealthy gambling studio. Each want each other dead, but whoever you kill will have massive consequences on the town. If you kill Gizmo, then law and order will be restored to Junktown and there'll be less criminals. But if you do kill Gizmo, then there'll be less wealthy businessmen coming to Junktown, steadily declining the amount of profit made by the city. So in the quest in Fallout 1, and just that example, you can clearly see that there is variation and consequences because of your actions. Now take, for example, the story in Fallout 4. After racing to Vault 111, after the sirens to explain to you that the bombs have begun dropping as China detonates thermonuclear devices across America, you, your husband or wife, depending on if you picked male or female as a character, descend into the vault with your son Sean and are frozen in cryogenic pods for human experimentation. Though sometime later, hitmen find your child and capture them. And when your son Sean becomes head of a mysterious organisation called the Institute, he decides to let you out on a journey to find him. The story itself is not exactly awful, but it's also not exactly great. Because of its more detail towards the actual main storyline, it doesn't allow other side quests to penetrate into the main storyline, making certain characters feel very shallow and out of depth. Fallout 4, all quests have the same main narrative towards them. Go to place, shoot the bad guys, come out of place, claim reward. This takes away the depth of Fallout 4 and makes it feel more shallow, dumbing down the game towards its already okay mediocre storyline that was once given. the side quests are what overarch the story, the main story in Fallout 1. And since the side quests are all very boring in Fallout 4, this makes the main storyline in Fallout 4 very, very boring. The factions. There are some other characters in the Fallout 4 that I do actually like and enjoy their personalities, aside from the faction leaders and characters which I'll come to later. Nick Valentine is a very interesting character, a synth detective working Diamond City and hunting down murder cases and other crime formats that come in through his door. He's well respected despite him being synth, which in general makes him fairly interesting. There's also Kellogg. He's an interesting character too. The one who stole your son and killed your husband/wife, depending on whether you played on a male or female character. Because of his backstory that's explained later through the game, it can in some cases make you want to forgive him and give you the option not to kill him. But of course, due to the bad quests that go from the go to this place, kill everyone and come back and get rewards scenario, you unfortunately can't do that, meaning his existence is kind of pointless and his personality can be shallow at times. Oh, and this dog meat, the little cute dog who can do stunts and tricks and who can wear adorable little biker goggles for no apparent reason. And then we have the factions in Fallout 4. Yep, that's it for all the characters. A dog, a robot detective, and a other person who I talked about. Yep, that's it. That's all the good people there are. Then we move on to the factions. Yeah, the Minutemen, they're so interesting and so very overwhelming. The Minutemen are one of the 4 factions you can sign in to progress through the main story. Oh, I didn't tell you, you need to choose a faction to continue through the main story, and they don't have their own side quests, as in not the side quests, their own main quest as well as the other main quest. If you've played Fallout 4, you'll understand what I mean. So you have the Minutemen, the most boring group in all of the Commonwealth. They're so, oh yeah, we're the Minutemen. We're gonna save as many people as we physically can and still be happy and smile about it kind of attitude. They generally are annoying because of this, and their quests are very boring. And Preston Garvey, don't get me started on Preston Garvey. One of probably Fallout's worst companion and worst and most annoying character in the whole game because of his happy attitude and generally annoying personality. To the 4 factions Fallout 4, them being the Brotherhood of Steel, the Railroad, the Institute, the Minutemen respectively, all have their own role and view on synths, the main antagonist/protagonist within the game. The Brotherhood wants them destroyed, the Railroad wants to save them, the Institute wants to make them into evil slave-like things that go about capturing people from the real world and replacing them with synths, and the Minutemen really doesn't care and just want to be all happy and jolly for the whole game. Each of the factions are very oversimplified, and the ones that appeared in the older games, mainly the Brotherhood of Steel and the Railroad and Fallout 3, have been over uncomplicated or incomplicated or just bored out, so they have no real purpose and value of what they once did. Compare and contrast with the Master from Fallout 1. Okay, yeah, the Master wasn't an actual faction within the game, but he still had a hard impact on the game's storyline. The Master was a terrifying presence at the very end of the last corridor in Fallout 1 in the underground cathedral church place. He always used to scare me with his multiple voices and arguably reasonable reasons of why to turn the human population into super mutants. His view was that the reason the Great War occurred was because of human greed and power, and turning the human population to super mutants would end this human greed and power. preventing another Great War from happening in the first place. In Fallout 1, after speaking to the Master, it was possible to talk him down. You couldn't do it in moral grounds because the Master himself had lost all forms of morality, but convincing the Master that all of his super mutants were sterile and that continuing to make more super mutants would just generally end his race after this generation, the Master then decides to commit suicide and kill himself. When siding with another faction in Fallout 4, the faction you are currently with tells you to kill the other factions. And that's it. If you side with the Railroad, you kill the Brotherhood of Steel and the Institute. If you side with the Brotherhood of Steel, you kill the Railroad and the Institute. If you side with the Institute, you kill the Minutemen, the Railroad, and the Brotherhood of Steel. No matter what your actions, you'll still have to cause bloody murder throughout the game, regardless of whether you wanted to or not. Listening into the Master's final speech gave you the alluring side of his darker and more malicious personality, and his realization of what he had done to humanity.
This would mean that all my work has been for nothing. Everything that I've tried to a failure. It can't be. I don't think that I can continue to have done the things I have done in the name of progress and healing. It was madness. I can see that now. Madness. There is no hope. Leave now. Leave while you still have.
To be continued. If you enjoyed Why Fallout 4 is Bad Part 2, please like, subscribe, and give a comment on what you thought was good about the video and how I could improve. Until then, or until what's next, Tiny Timber, out.